A very good afternoon to you all and a warm welcome. Goeiemiddag aan julle almal en baie welkom. Today is the 9th of July 2023 and as always please remember to like, subscribe and share our videos. I hope you find our videos informative and educating. Right, today I'm going to talk to you about deception. Gaps in false teaching, misleading presentations and representations, inaccurate information, deceitful behavior by our leaders and businessmen and also partners. And then of course in closing, what's the way forward and our decision time, what's best for ourselves and for our children. Right, deception tactics, let's look at that. Let's see what Google dictionary says about deception. Right, what are the components of deception? Every deception is comprised of two parts. It's dissimulation, which is covert, hiding what is real, and simulation, which is overt, showing the false. What are the causes of deception? Research identifies three major reasons why people lie. To get something they want, it's so-called instrumental reasons, to protect or promote themselves, secondly, and thirdly, to harm others. Is deception a form of betrayal? Let's see. Betrayal is the perception of being harmed by the omissions or intentional actions of any trusted individual. Deception refers to the act of encouraging people to believe in any kind of information that is not true, with the intention of deceiving. Lying is known as a common form of deception. What is deception in intelligence? Now, we all know what intelligence is. That's information that's confirmed. Counterintelligence can be described as activities designed to prevent or twist spying, intelligence gathering and sabotage by an enemy or other foreign entity. Right, so let's talk a little bit, and I want to hear your comments and tell me what we should be looking for. Let's look at the gaps in or of deception within the following topics. Now, we all know the world is divided in two. We've got the East and the West. So if we look at the East Bloc countries, the majority are seen as non-believing or non-believers in the faith, with some countries having Christian believing leaders or leadership in position of leadership and having the influence to build or to destroy a nation. In the Western world, as we all know it, we see that the majority are Christians, but also having non-believing leaders in position of power and influence. So where's the gaps of deception here between the East and the West? Which political leader is evil and sick and needs remedy? And why do the people and organizations, knowing this, not do anything about it or bring the evil to book? Where are the gaps of deception between the East and the West? If we look at Russia versus Ukraine, with the military issue in Ukraine, where all those hundreds of thousands of people have been misplaced and have lost their lives, where are the political leaders here? Who must carry the blame for the hundreds of thousands of lives lost due to greed and power and political advantage? Where are the gaps of deception here between the leaders of that country and the majority of the people that want to live peaceful lives in harmony with one another, all cultures, all races? If we look at Africa versus Europe, we have the European Union involving all groups and cultures, but we have the African Union only wanting blacks. It's in their mission statement. Who are the troublemakers? And where are the gaps of deception here? If we look of late of what's going on in France with the riots there, the ethnic issues there in France, we want to ask the question, what groups are burning and destroying France? And why can't the armies and the police do their duties and protect the people? They're always criticized and persecuted for doing their jobs. There are individuals that do cross the line, but I'm talking now generally. All the forces want to do what they need to do, but they are prevented. And why are the rogue politicians and thugs, they live above the law, freely, above the judicial system, worldwide? Where are the gaps of deception here? If we just look at France, let's just focus on France of the last few days to a week, what's going on there. If we come to South Africa, we have the South African politicians versus the people. Let's take of late President Cyril Ramaphosa's closing address at the ANC Youth League. He talks about the ANC is losing ground, losing growth in their position. And then he's requesting the youth to return to militancy conduct. Call for arms, basically. Why does leaders do this? You know, if Cyril Ramaphosa talks like this, he's basically putting his people in front so he can stay behind and think he's safe and protected when the word says don't think high walls can protect you. We even know about Julius Malema and his public statements of being being in the revolution, that you must be able to kill and it's not seen as terrorism. If the majority agreed to your acts, then that's not terrorism. What nonsense. What is wrong with the leaders? Why do we have sick leaders? Why do we have leaders that promote evil and division among peaceful people? The question to South Africa and South Africans is, what are you doing about it? What can be done? Why do you listen to these people? Why do they have a public platform? Who are they working for? This is nonsense between the blacks and the whites, what's happening in South Africa. Where are the gaps of deception here? If we look at the churches inside, the churches outside, all is well inside the churches, but outside all is hell. There's no peace. It's frightening. The Lord talks about pastors being shepherds of his flock. We should be taking on these politicians publicly and bringing all evildoers to book. We're not doing anything. And why do believers all over the world allow evil to reign? What is going on? Where are the gaps of deception here? Fathers and sons. There's a lot of love between lots of fathers and sons. But fathers today are not wanted. Our Father in heaven says also he's not wanted. Where are the gaps of deception here? If you look at of late the latest issues between the Southland and then the Southland Defence, now SBB, why did Southland cut off the water and lights for Southland Defence? Where thereafter we had to regroup and reorganize ourselves to go forward. Where are the gaps of deception here? Let's have a look at what the word says. If we look at Jeremiah 9:5, it says, friend deceives friend, and no one speaks the truth. They have taught their tongues to lie. They weary themselves with sinning. You live in the midst of deception, all of us. In their deceit, they refuse to acknowledge me, declares the Lord. I've just mentioned it earlier. The Father in heaven is not recognized. Fathers are not recognized by their sons, and this is across the board. Do not punish them. Should I, 9 verse 9 says, should I not punish them for this, declares the Lord? Should not avenge myself on such a nation like this? South Africans have turned away from the Lord, all of you, and you know what I'm talking about. You can keep quiet, but you know the reality is that united rainbow nation does not exist. We're all doing our own thing. Inside the church, you're all nice and decent. Outside the church, you're busy with the evil ways. If we look at Jeremiah 23, the Lord speaks about shepherds. That's us. That's pastors. That's fathers of houses who are destroying and scattering the sheep of my pasture, declares the Lord. And the Lord says there, because we are scattered and we should be keeping the flock together, that he's going to hold us accountable You can go and read Jeremiah 23, verses 1, 2, and 3. And if you look at Jeremiah 24, it says there, I will place shepherds over them who will tend to them, and they will no longer be afraid or terrified, nor will any be missing, declares the Lord. And on Jeremiah 23, verse 3 to, indeed, I'm against those who prophesy or prophesize false dreams, declares the Lord. Go read Ezekiel 34. There's a lot said in Ezekiel 34 that's applicable to South Africa, worldwide. Then it brings me to the decision time. What are you going to do? Are you going to keep quiet? Are you going to stand up for what's right for yourself and for your children? Or are you going to allow the likes of the President Cyril Ramaphosa to call on arms for the youth, and for the likes of Malema to talk about it's right to kill if you are in a revolution? And what are you doing about it? You need to stand together. You need to group. Go and read Jeremiah and go and read Ezekiel and get your answer. It's decision time. You need to join. You need to have an action plan in place. Things are not looking good. Our leaders are ill. They are evil. They do not promote unity. Right. Just like all fathers, I'm doing this for my boys, and I want you fathers to do the same for your children. It's time to stand together, and power of association is important here. Just do it. Follow our links below, and it'll take you through the process to join. And remember, we have a national emergency plan that kicks in place when the government can no longer look after your safety. Right, until next time, stay well, keep safe, and keep sharp. Tot ziens en groete.